Beam City Sports back at you again here in Sacramento, California, 96.5 FM, KUBU Radio. This is Tyler Texeira and Luke Mitchell coming back to you with another week of Beam City Sports. How you been, Luke?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be back in the studio. It was a nice chilly evening or chilly morning today, but we heating up. We starting off hot here in the studio, but yeah, good to be back.
Yes, sir. We have a lot to go over today. You know, we've got some breaking news this morning with our Sacramento Kings, a new signing that we'll jump right into. Also, we'll go over some NBA preseason talk, our top 5 favorite teams going into this year to watch, our top 5 predicting breakout players for this year, and then we'll go into the MLB Playoffs, which has been insane, as always, like we mentioned. The best playoffs in all of sports, and it's really living up to that, especially this year.
Yeah. MLB, I'm all over it. Like I said last week, best playoffs in any sports, all time.
Yeah, you know, we've seen, the last 4 teams in the MLB. It's the Yankees and the Guardians, and then the Mets and the Dodgers. Yep. So Final 4 in the MLB.
Again, not another repeat for World Series. We've seen that in every other big sports, but in the MLB, it's always someone new winning the chip. So yeah, I'm excited for it.
Love to see that.
Just not the Yankees or the Dodgers.
Yeah, we're hoping it's not, but those teams definitely look good.
Yeah,
in October.
They're looking good right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, today we saw some big news breaking here in Sacramento this morning. The Sacramento Kings have signed free agent shooting guard or in small forward Doug McDermott to a 1-year deal. This is guaranteed, and he is known as a sharpshooter, of course. That's how
he's a good 3-and-D player too.
Yes. Yeah. That's how he's made his mark in the NBA, and very excited to have him here in Sacramento. During this last week, we also saw Jalen McDaniels get traded to the San Antonio Spurs for absolutely nothing.
Kind of a load off kind of deal. I think it was. To sign Doug McDermott, really, we had to give him that money. Yeah. I think it was like $4 million that we freed up with Jaden McDaniels leaving. I think that's the whole point of bringing in Doug McDermott because in all honesty, like Jaden McDaniels didn't really bring that much depth to our bench. With Doug McDermott, he's not gonna play a lot of minutes, but when he does get on the court, he's gonna give us quality minutes and give us that 3-point shooting that we have been struggling with this whole preseason.
Yeah, that's a good point. We have been struggling from the 3-point line this preseason. So the Kings are 0-4 in preseason. Yeah, looking a little scary.
Probably the only team 0-4.
Yeah, it's trying to be optimistic about it. It is only the preseason, but. Yep. Last night was not a good indicator of that. The Kings played all their starters heavy minutes against one of the worst teams going into this year, Utah Jazz, and they lost by 3, went down to the wire, and they couldn't pull through. But yeah, back to this move, picking up Doug McDermott. They traded Jalen McDaniels for nothing, and a lot of people were, speculating this could be because of a future move coming up for the Kings. And, some guys that are on the board are Bobby Portis from Milwaukee, who's, great energy guy, gets a lot of rebounds.
I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. And also Jeremy Grant from Portland.
I would like that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Jeremy Grant, that would be a nice pickup for us. He had added a bit more size, too, for us.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Jeremy Grant has been known as a good defender as well, also can score the ball very well. But if he did come to Sacramento, it would definitely have to be off the bench. Yeah. I don't see any way he could get into the starting lineup.
Nah, not at all.
With Keegan and DeRozan and Keon.
I think he would be fine, though, coming off the bench. Yeah. Looking at the team that he's with, he would probably come off right behind Malik, probably be that second squad right there with him.
That could be like one of the best bench duos in the NBA if they did pick up either one of those guys. But picking up Doug McDermott does have me a little scared for guys like Kevin Huerter and Trey Lyles off the bench. They picked up Doug McDermott and they traded off that money of McDaniels. Yep. If they make another move, we'd probably see Kevin Huerter and Trey Lyles get moved.
I want to see Trey Lyles play more. He hasn't got as many minutes or as much time recently just because of the injuries and everything. Yeah. But I like him a lot more than Kevin Huerter on the team, honestly. Or maybe Doug McDermott doesn't even work and he's just here for the year and nothing happens and he's gone. Who knows?
I could see that happening, but, they kind of made a business move picking up Doug McDermott just in case they want to move on from Huerter. Yeah. And like you said, they've been struggling from the 3-point line so far in this preseason.
Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to talk about is, so against the Warriors, the first game, Warriors were shooting lights out against us. Everybody was hitting a three. Like, it didn't matter. Everyone who went up for a three on the Warriors made it. I think they made their first 10 threes, I think. I don't know.
They broke their franchise record for three-pointers in the game with 28.
28. And then that game, the Kings went 7 for 27 from three-point line. And then they go against the Warriors again the next night. They go 13 for 46 from three-point land. And, I mean, if you're shooting 46 threes, you got to be shooting, I mean, at least kind of hitting at least 20 of those.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you're going to expect to win if you're shooting 46 threes and hitting 13. And then the next game against the Blazers, 5 and 28 from three-point. We get killed by the Blazers.
Yeah.
And then the next game, 10 and 38 against the Jazz. Like, that's what's hurting us. We're losing by 3 points. We're losing by a few points in these games.
Yeah.
And the 3-point, like, if we just stop shooting up shots like that, that's pretty. That's what's killing us.
Yeah, these guys still got to get their legs under them and all that. But there's no excuse. All these other teams, like you said, the Warriors have been shooting absolutely lights out.
Yeah.
They do have a ton of shooters on that team, but going into this year, I didn't think the 3-point shooting for this Kings team would be this much of a question.
I
but
thought it was going to be hot.
It really is. Keon needs to shoot a good percentage from three.
Yep.
We know Keegan's going to shoot a good percentage from three.
Mm-hmm.
They want to get Sabonis shooting more threes as well. We've seen him shoot a couple in the preseason. And then De'Aaron, of course, he's up and down with his 3-point shot. Same with DeRozan. He's looked good from my point of view from the 3-point line, better than I expected coming in. But his go-to is that mid-range shot. So they're going to have to find ways to get that 3-point ball falling.
I know it is. Preseason. Yes, it does take time to. Get hot and knock off the rust, but we got to do it now. There's only one game left of preseason. Yeah, 1 week left until regular.
1 week from tomorrow, the Sacramento Kings will be playing official NBA basketball.
Here in
opening
Sacramento.
night here in Golden One Center against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Super excited for that. But some question marks with our guy De'Aaron Fox on his contract situation. He turned down a $165 million extension, and
I think this was expected from everybody in Sacramento because he did say this before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, he could if De'Aaron makes an All-NBA team this year, he could make the super max of $345 million in this next summer. So, that is definitely what he's playing for.
That's what he's playing for.
And that's a good sign for us. That means he's going to come out and try and be one of the top 15 players in the league.
Yeah.
Because we know All-NBA is non-position anymore.
I think he was last year, and he still didn't get it.
Yeah, exactly. So he's going to have to prove a lot of people wrong.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of NBA heads have been talking about how big of a contract this could be and how some people don't think De'Aaron's worth it. And I disagree with it, obviously. But
everybody's going to look at Sacramento and kind of just give us a little stink eye, no matter what, no matter who's on our team. Adding DeMar, adding DeMontis, people are looking at us like, oh yeah, they're going to be good, but it's Sacramento.
Yeah,
people need to put respect on it now.
Yeah.
I see Fox getting that all NBA team and getting that contract.
Yeah,
I don't see him leaving either. People are thinking he's going to leave. I think it was Iman Shumpert the other day, or I think it was Iman. He said that De'Aaron should leave Sacramento. And yeah. And I don't know. Iman, I need you to average over 15 points a game for more than a few seasons for your career before you talk to De'Aaron.
Yeah, I don't think De'Aaron's going to leave. I don't think there's any chance of that.
There's no reason for him to leave.
They kept his best friend Malik Monk. They went out and got DeMar DeRozan for him. Yep. He has a great relationship with Sabonis.
So there's no reason for him to leave.
Yeah. That was some Kings talk. What do you think of DeMar DeRozan's first couple games in the preseason with Sacramento so far?
I saw him play the first game.
Yeah.
I went to the opener, and he shot 6 for 6 from mid range.
Yep.
He got 16 points, 6 for 6, 5 I think 6 assists and 5 rebounds, something like that.
Solid game.
Dude was amazing.
Didn't miss.
Looked like he played on the team for at least 5 years already. Yeah. They know everybody. It's flawless right now.
Yeah.
It's just hitting those open shots because there were so many open threes they had. They made the right play. They got open. The Warriors looked kind of bamboozled for a little bit.
Yeah.
But then we just break every single three.
Yeah. And last night, going down to the wire in the close game against Utah, we saw De'Aaron and DeRozan both on the floor together.
Yeah.
DeRozan was feeling it a little bit. They gave him the ball down in the post, everyone starts helping over, shading over because they know DeRozan wants to get a shot up.
Yeah.
And DeRozan was unselfish and immediately found the open De'Aaron Fox for a three, which he missed. But it's a good sign. DeRozan trusts De'Aaron down in the fourth quarter, and it looks like the Kings want to put the ball in DeRozan's hands.
I mean, having two of the best clutch players in the NBA, you got to test it out both ways.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see some real, regular season basketball with this team.
Yes. Yeah. Just a little bit worried. But
we're going to keep some optimism here. We're going to stay on the positive side and just say, they're still getting their legs under them. Malik has really been hurt all summer, so now he's finally kind of getting back into things. Yeah. So hopefully see him stepping up.
He was a little rough last night.
Exactly.
I think he went 2 for 12.
Yeah, rough game for Malik. Okay, so some other preseason news that we've seen. Paul George suffered an injury already, hyperextending his knee. It was an ugly injury. You saw it on the court. His knee locked up. You could really tell.
I hate that feeling.
Yeah, it's a bad feeling. And they did say he'll be reevaluated in a week, so hopefully he's ready for opening night for Philly.
Yeah, luckily no structural damage.
Yeah, no structural damage for Paul George. So, hoping he's all good. Everyone in the NBA wants to see him healthy.
I want to see that team. I want to see that team do good.
Exactly. That's going to be a fun team to watch. But staying on the Sixers, Joel Embiid said a couple days ago that he will never play in a back-to-back game ever again.
Come on, dude.
I don't know. I think it's a smart move because he's dealt with so many injuries in his career. He always has great regular seasons, and then he gets hurt when it's playoff time, when it's most important.
I guess.
He went out and said that he doesn't care about the regular season. He just wants to get in the playoffs, and then he wants to play every minute, every game.
So even if, it's coming down to the season and they need to get back-to-back wins, he plays the first game, and he's like, oh, we need to win today? Nah, I'm going to take the day off. I played yesterday.
I mean, I think
Come on. Obviously the NBA can do better on making scheduling, give them a day break. If they're playing in the same city, give them a day break.
Yeah.
Let them have a day off. But, if it comes down to the wire, I expect him to suit up.
Yeah, he'll probably, base it off who they're playing. If they're playing the Pistons and then, the Pacers or something back-to-back nights, he'll probably sit the Pistons game out.
So don't ask for that much money next time, Embiid. If you're saying you're going to sit out, don't ask for that much money.
Yeah. He is definitely one of the top 5 players in the league.
Yes.
And
yes.
I think the NBA, like you said, needs to do better. I think they need to take back-to-backs out just in general.
Yeah.
Because you're going to keep seeing these star players sit out in these back-to-back games.
It's a high intense. Yeah. It's a contact sport now.
Yeah.
Obviously calls are called in a snap of the finger if you get too physical, but still, it's a bunch of bodies running around at 15 miles an hour sometimes.
Yeah.
Getting up and down the court and then running into each other. It is dangerous. I mean, now we get to Lonzo. He's back after 2 years.
Yeah, Lonzo will officially play his first game in 1,006 days today.
Yeah,
he will play limited minutes in this preseason game against Minnesota. He's on the Bulls still. He's been hurt the last 2 or 3 years. He's had 3 knee surgeries in that time frame.
He's someone I can say that can sit out in back-to-backs.
That makes sense. The last time Lonzo Ball played an NBA game, Domantas Sabonis was still on the Pacers.
He was on the Pacers, man. There's a lot of stuff different.
A lot of different stuff.
Kuzma was still on the Lakers at the time.
KD, Kyrie, and Harden were all on the Nets.
Insane.
Lonzo, and so excited to see him back. He's still the last time he played, he was such a great player.
Yeah.
Just great defensively.
One of the best passers.
Yeah.
One of the best passers in the league.
Best passers. Also, he really stepped up his 3-point game. This catch and shoot for him. He fixed his jumper, and he was a great shooter in the league. So definitely really excited to see him back.
No, I'm excited to see him. Sorry, I didn't mean to get off of Joel Embiid, but no, yeah.
We're good.
No, I'm excited to see Lonzo. Obviously the matchup between him and De'Aaron is kind of dead.
It's dead, for sure.
Dead.
It's dead.
De'Aaron won that one.
But still
all
love
respect to Lonzo. All respect to Lonzo.
We saw him play in college, actually.
That March Madness, that was pretty awesome.
We saw UCLA when Lonzo was on the team when they came to Golden One in the early of the tournament. So.
I think I still have a video saved in my memory saying, I'll play you one-on-one, Lonzo.
And who also played in that game was Dylan
Brooks on Oregon.
On Oregon, yeah. So
no, I remember watching him, and I was like, I like that guy. Yeah, and then he gets to the NBA, and I'm like, man.
He is good, though.
I like his attitude. He gets under people's skin.
For sure.
He's a great defensive player, but.
For sure.
Yeah.
A couple more things we've seen in the preseason. I am very impressed with J.J. Redick as a head coach so far. He has the Lakers offense looking different than it ever has. They're running a ton of plays, a ton of screens off the ball. LeBron's not just handling the ball every possession. The Lakers could be good this year. I think JJ's going to go down as one of the best coaches. I'm saying it now.
Really?
Yeah.
You think Coach of the Year candidate?
No.
No.
I'm going to say no.
The Lakers are still going to be down at like
not
7th
this year.
seed.
Yeah, not this year. And they have, expectations a little, so it's hard to win Coach of the Year when you have expectations.
I don't think this Lakers team is going to get anywhere.
Maybe not in the they could be in the top 6. I wouldn't be too surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised, but like I'm just saying, like in the long run, I'm looking at it like all these Lakers fans are seeing JJ Redick come in. They're like, oh, he's going to save the future. He's going to save this. But then, LeBron's going to retire in like 2 years.
Yeah, I think JJ's really going to flourish when LeBron does retire.
That's what I'm
he gets
thinking.
Some new young guys, and he gets and he gets to run the show and stuff. I think JJ, he's a very good coach already. He's just a basketball junkie. You can tell he puts in the hours. And after every Laker game, there's NBA people on Twitter saying, "Oh, he got this play from Dan Hurley at UConn, who's the best college coach in all of basketball right now."
There you go.
He's stealing stuff from all these great coaches and all that. He knows the philosophy he wants to play with, and I'm just excited to see where he goes as a coach.
I wouldn't use the word stealing because basketball's basketball. Plays are going to be used. Plays are going to be
all teams run similar plays, of course. Yeah.
But he's all of his podcasts and everything, all the episodes I've watched, like. He's a basketball genius.
Yeah,
he ran the court he ran it as a point guard.
Yeah,
I think any point guard who is able to facilitate a court for many years like he did, makes the best coach.
Yeah,
because then you got to run the whole court the whole time while the coach is yelling at you. It's just that.
Yeah,
Yep.
And he's been through a lot, seen a lot, has so much experience.
A lot of different coaches.
So yeah. So one more thing on the preseason, I'm very impressed with how the Golden State Warriors are looking. Buddy Hield coming off the bench, they really like using him as the.
I hate to say it, but he's killing it.
He's killing it in the preseason, shooting 60% from 3 in the preseason. So Buddy coming off the bench, they really use him when Steph isn't in the game, and he is running that Steph role, getting screens off the ball, finding that open space. He's the first option.
I see him potentially being a 6 man of the year candidate.
I had him in the running last week. Yeah. Also, just some question marks for the Warriors, though. It's Kuminga and Wiggins. They started last night in their win against the Lakers, but that was because Brandon Pajemski was hurt with a broken nose. So Brandon Pajemski will come back. Everyone expects him to be in the starting lineup. So are they going to start Draymond at the center? Are they going to start Trace Jackson Davis, who I interviewed in Santa Cruz?
I think the Warriors are going to be one of those teams where they change the lineup every night
based on their matchup.
Much, yeah,
I could see that.
I see that happening for them because that's what the Kings did last year.
Yeah,
when injuries were kind of a bug for us.
Yeah,
we changed it just based on matchup and everything.
Exactly.
Sometimes we had Alex Len starting, which was I kind of liked seeing Alex Len starting. Yeah, I like having that size immediately. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think I see the Warriors being one of those teams for sure. Just changing it up if they want to play a fast, smaller ball. They'll have Pajemski in. If not,
they can play big where they play Wiggins, Kuminga, Draymond, and Trace.
Yeah.
I just am very impressed with this Warriors preseason. I think they have a very deep roster as well. I think they can go 12 deep. Also, Moses Moody's been killing it in the preseason, and it's going to be hard for him to get minutes.
Yeah,
this Warriors team is just so deep.
It is pretty deep. Yeah. But I don't think any of them are most the people who have been like Curry and everybody like Draymond.
Curry and Draymond are staples for sure.
They stay consistent enough to kind of be on there all the time.
Yeah.
But then with these younger guys, you see nights where they're hot, and then the next night they shoot. They get a couple shots.
Something, yeah.
So that's the only issue with it. It is deep, but they need to stay consistent.
True. All right, well, let's jump in quickly to our top 5 favorite teams to watch coming into this year. This is all just based on our personal opinion, for us personally. So I think we start
at 5 or 1.
I think we both have the same number 1.
Yeah, so let's start at 5.
Okay, let's start at 5. My 5 is the Charlotte Hornets.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that.
I'm very excited to watch Charlotte this year. They have a new coach who's really dedicated to, running this team differently than it has been before. They want a lot of structure, a lot of set plays, and a lot of, running and gunning as well with LaMelo. Brandon Miller looks like a stud. Hit 7 threes last night.
Brandon Miller is one of my favorite young players right now.
Yeah. That's my number 5, the Charlotte Hornets.
I respect it, though.
I think they're going to make a push for the play-in. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
I see that. I did have them a bit lower, I think, on my Eastern Conference standings.
Yeah.
But I mean, they could be a dark horse to get into that.
Yeah, I had them at 11. I kind of want to change them to 10. I don't think the Hawks are going to make it anymore, but a little late now. So, yeah. Yep. Who's your 5?
I got the, I mean, they were good last year just because, I mean, they had one of the MVP candidates, but they added another great piece. I got the 76ers at 5.
I like it. Yeah.
I mean, not always been one of my favorite teams. Yeah. They were, like, I mean, I was about to switch over to them when the Kings were pretty bad a while ago. Yeah. I was like, I'm going to be a Sixers fan. Yeah. Glad I didn't hop ship. Good. But no, adding Paul George and having that kind of one of the best trios in the league, probably, if they stay healthy, that's going to be a team that gets around, like, I mean, 60 to 65 wins, I think.
Yeah, no, that they're definitely going to have a good year, for sure. My 4 is a team similar to that, a lot of offseason moves. I had the New York Knicks as my 4th favorite team going into this year. Okay. I'm just really excited to see Cat, Mikal Bridges, all these guys, OG back.
That's also, I mean, a good trio right there. That's going to be
insane. Brunson's definitely one of my favorite players in the league.
Yeah, so. Not even a trio. Yeah. A whole squad.
A whole team.
A whole squad.
All right. Well, who's your 4?
I got the Orlando Magic at 4.
Yep.
I did want to put them higher, but I still see them kind of being one of those, I mean, young developing teams. Yeah. But all their games against the Kings that I've seen the past years,
crazy games.
All exciting games. Yeah. Everything's been exciting.
For sure.
Some heartbreakers, but then also some great moments.
Yeah, true. They were my number 3. I had the Orlando Magic as my 3rd favorite team going into this year.
I had the Knicks at number 3, so we both flip-flop for us.
That's funny. Okay, well, this is where I'm curious to see, because I know my number 2. Who's your number 2?
I got the Memphis Grizzlies at number 2.
Wow. Okay, you're riding with that jaw.
I am riding with jaw.
You like Zach Edey?
I do like Zach Edey. Yeah. I see Zach Edey becoming, potential rookie of the year with this team.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. He's
averaging
really
a double-double, I think. I think he's going to average like 12 and 10 easily.
And he's easily posting up some of the best defensive centers in the league and just shooting little hook shots over him like it doesn't even matter.
Because he also weighs, like 200 and something?
He's killing. That's cool to see Memphis as your number 2.
Yeah.
Tough to see with, the Kings and Memphis kind of being rivals.
It's going to be tough.
Those are going to be fun games.
Yeah. It'd be cool to see them in the playoffs play against each other.
That would be awesome.
A great playoff series.
I still think De'Aaron is better than Ja, but I'm going to just keep that to myself.
Yes. I agree with that.
Yeah. My number 2 is the Golden State Warriors. Always been a diehard Steph fan, favorite player of all time.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, they have a deep team. I'm really excited to see what Steve Kerr does with this lineup. It
will be a good team.
Yeah, and I've also interviewed half of those guys on that team, like at the end of the roster with the G League team. Pat Spencer, guys like Trace Jackson Davis, all those guys, Guy Santos. So I love seeing them getting a lot of minutes in preseason.
That's pretty awesome.
Probably won't get a lot of minutes when the regular season comes around.
Yeah, but you still,
But Trace Jackson might start. Brandon Pajemski might start. So those two guys I've definitely interviewed.
Go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Both are number 1. It's the Sacramento Kings. Excited to light that beam.
Yes.
Got to shout out my 3 other teams that I wanted to put on here, but just couldn't fit them in. The Los Angeles Lakers.
What?
I'm always kind of I always root for the Lakers deep down, even though, a lot of people.
LeBron.
I do like LeBron.
I like to watch LeBron.
I love AR. Austin Reeves. He's one of my favorite players.
Yeah, he's cool. He is cool.
And D'Lo.
I like his energy.
I hate how people don't like D'Lo these days.
I've always liked D'Lo.
D'Lo's
always been one of my favorite guards. Like, I mean, him on the Nets. Him on the Nets. That was killer.
Everyone's almost favorite player on the Nets. Another team, Dallas Mavericks. Really excited to see Clay.
Mavericks are gonna
always love watching Kyrie.
I gotta say something. Clay's 3 for 30 in preseason.
3 for 30.
3 for 30.
I know he went over 9. So
all of his shots, he's 3 for 30.
Jeez, that's not a good look.
Dude needs to fix something.
Luka hasn't played in preseason, so that's
weird.
Well, he's
Is he hurt still?
I think they shouldn't play the stars too much in preseason. Luka's always hurt, so I'm not mad at it. He was playing in the summer.
I don't know. At some point though, he's gonna come into game 1 and just be like,
he's Luka. Come on.
Yeah,
he's
I know.
Luka.
I know. I'm so salty we didn't get him.
Yeah, true. Another team for me was the Washington Wizards. Got to shout out my boy Sebastian out in London. Put me on the Wizards.
Shout out Sebastian.
Shout out.
I know you're listening.
Yeah, and Jordan Poole, one of my favorite guys in the league. And I think they have a good young core. I'm excited for them in the future. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna agree with you on the Hornet. I need to put the Hornets. I'll probably put them at like 6.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, I guess we're gonna talk about them in a few minutes, but the Hornets. Having LaMelo be like that, he's like our age.
Yeah.
Averaging 20. Crazy. He's gonna be averaging like 23, 24 points a game.
Yeah.
And then Brandon Miller, just like. I was a big fan of him. He went to Bama, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was a big fan of watching him in Bama.
Yeah.
During March Madness, he was a great player over there.
Yeah.
So,
sure.
I mean, yeah, I like the Hornets a lot.
Yeah. Well, I'll jump into my top 5 breakout players for this year before we go to break in about 2 minutes. My number 5 was Dyson Daniels from the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay.
I think he's going to come into that starting 2-guard spot where DeJounte Murray was. He's not going to average as much points, but he's going to play great defense, and he's going to make an impact. And I think Atlanta will be happy to have him.
Oh, yeah. At my 5, I got Deuce McBride
I like that
the
pick.
Knicks.
Yeah.
With Dante leaving and Julius leaving, I mean, I think he's going to get more and more minutes.
Yeah.
He had like 19 a game, I think, last year. Still averaged like 10 points a game.
He's really good.
He's going to be really good.
He could be their 6th man.
That's what I'm thinking. I think he comes off the bench 6 or 7, and I mean, I think at some nights he might start.
Yeah, true. So my 4 was Keontae George from the Utah Jazz, who we saw last night absolutely kill the Kings.
Yeah.
Young guard, 2nd year in the league now. I'm a big fan of Keontae George. He's nasty.
Yeah.
He's got a handle. He can shoot it. He wants to score the ball as a young point guard. So those are my favorite type of players.
He was hurting me last night.
Yeah, for sure.
I got Emmanuel quickly at 4.
Yeah.
He did take a jump from when he left the Knicks to Toronto. He took like a 3-point jump and like a few more in the assists and rebounds. But I think he goes up even more now. And like him dribbling the ball up that court. Like he's gonna have Scotty Barnes over there, and then also OG Anunoby. Both of them. Or no, OG's on
Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett.
And RJ Barrett. Sorry.
You're good. But yeah, I like that pick quickly. He fits his name also. He's very quick, one of the fastest guards in the league. So he'll definitely be pushing that pace for Toronto.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we should jump back into our top 3 breakout players for the next year, and then we will jump into some MLB Playoffs action. We got a lot to jump into on the next half of this show. This is Beam City Sports on 96.5 FM. If you're listening on YouTube, please go subscribe.
Like, comment, share, everything.
Get it out there. All right, we'll be back. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
Thank you.
We are back here on Beam City Sports, 96.5 FM. Tyler Texeira and Luke Mitchell coming to you in Sacramento, California for our 16th week in a row of Beam City Sports.
4 months, baby.
4 months straight. Let's get it.
Yes, sir.
So we'll jump back in quickly to our top 5 breakout players that we're predicting for this year for the NBA, and then we'll jump into some baseball. All right. Well, my number 3 was Julian Strawther from the Denver Nuggets. The young shooting guard out there.
Yep.
He'll definitely be coming off the bench, but Denver does not have a lot of three-point shooting.
They don't have a lot of three-point shooting.
Besides Michael Porter Jr. And Michael Porter Jr. actually came out and said this, that me and Julian need to be the three-point shooting on this team. And I've always loved Julian Strawther's game ever since last year. I saw him play in garbage minutes, and he was killing.
There you go.
And I think this year he could really get some more opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm excited to see.
Them losing KCP and Reggie Jackson, too. He'll get a lot more minutes.
Definitely. They're relying on their young guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me at number 3, he obviously had a great year last year on this young team, but Jalen Williams on OKC.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be, kind of up there fighting Shea for like one of the top scoring, because I think he's going to score a lot next year.
Yeah, he's a bucket for sure.
He's a bucket.
People are talking about him being an all-star candidate race.
That's also what I'm thinking too. Obviously he's already been a breakout player, but I think he's going to shine even more next year. And he's going to help the OKC be back up top in the top 3 seed for sure.
Yeah, he's a certified bucket.
Yeah.
He can score at all 3 levels as well. So also he's a good defender.
Great defender.
Yeah,
defender. He's got a big body.
Yeah, wingspan is crazy.
Yeah.
So he's a great player. My number 2 was a guy I've mentioned a couple times on the show, Cam Whitmore from the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, I know you're a big fan of Houston.
Yeah, he is going to jump up this year in his scoring department. When he gets his opportunity, he's an easy 20 points a game a night. He just hasn't really gotten that much opportunity, especially on this Rockets team. But I think they need a number 1 option. I think they need a number 1 scoring guy. If Jalen Green isn't who they think he is, I think Cam Whitmore can really step into that role and be their go-to scorer.
Okay, hell yeah. I got Brandon Miller at number 2.
Yeah.
I've already talked about him quite a bit. He's one of my favorites. One of my favorite young small forwards in the league. But I noticed something last year. The first 32 games, or after the first 32 games, his shooting percentage went up in all categories. Every single shooting percentage went up like 4 or 5% in the last 35 games.
Yeah.
So, him making that jump just like halfway through the season, probably just after All-Star break, comes back even hotter. And then, I think this year he's going to be up there with LaMelo. Both of them are going to be leading that team like you said, hopefully to a play-in spot.
Yeah, I definitely think Brandon Miller is going to have a big year. Next Paul George. That's what he's been saying his whole career. And
I could see him potentially being an all-star.
Yeah, I would love that.
At least all-star race.
Yeah.
I know with all fan voting and everything, it kind of screws it up. But when it comes down to it, I think he can come off the bench an all-star.
Yeah, for sure. So my number one was Trey Mann from the Charlotte Hornets as well.
Okay.
We've seen him in the preseason really light it up, and he's also always been a great ISO scorer. He's just never gotten the opportunity that he deserves. He was on OKC for a couple years, and there was just no room for him over there.
Yeah.
So they moved him to Charlotte, and now he could jump into that starting two-guard spot for them.
Yeah.
And I like how he's bringing back the retro look. He's
the baggy
shorts, the baggy jerseys. He's wearing the headband.
He's quick, man.
He's got handle.
Yeah,
man. He's a great scorer, and that's my type of favorite player right there. It's like that Jordan Poole kind of type, like that ISO scorer that can handle the ball, shoot it, score from all three levels. So Trey Mann is my number one breakout player for this year. Excited to see what he does in those long shorts.
Yeah, I saw the clip of him recently on Instagram. The picture of him, I was like, oh, that's hard right there. That's tough. Pretty tight.
It's tough.
But then, his handles are quick. That little in and out, right? That was, little Jamal Crawford-esque a little bit. Yeah.
That's a good comparison.
For me, at my number one, I got our boy Isaac Jones on the Kings.
Oh, wow. I like it.
I was watching him play here. Dude.
He's good.
He was killing.
Yeah,
him moving down low.
Yeah.
And then he also weighs 246 pounds or something like that.
He might be the guy that we're looking for.
He's the guy I think we're looking for to come off the bench.
Wing defender.
Wing defender, too.
Long arms.
He gets up. He can shoot, too. He has a mid-range.
Yeah, his shot surprised me, actually.
That's what I was surprised about. But, I went with my boy Duncan to the game, and it was he was nice.
He did definitely impress me in that first game a lot.
Yeah.
He played a lot of minutes with the starters as well. They were kind of putting all those bench guys in with the starting lineup, see who was doing the best, and he stood out a lot.
I don't think he'll get a lot of minutes at the beginning of the year.
No.
But I think if the Kings start to struggle a little bit, they're going to try something out.
He could be the guy.
I think he can come in and be that guy.
I like that pick.
Yeah.
I do like that pick. Okay, well, some other guys I had that I couldn't put on the list really quick. Josh Giddey, who's one of my picks for most improved player.
Yep.
I think he's going to have a big year. Also, someone who's looked really good in preseason is Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons has looked pretty good.
Ben Simmons has looked really good, and it's hard to say it.
I know I can't really call half my people on my list breakout players, but I do think they'll break out for more than what they did last year.
Yeah.
But Ben Simmons is he was a breakout player when he first started, and then he dwindled away.
I think the revenge tour of Ben Simmons could start this year.
It'd be pretty tight.
Yeah,
I've always liked him. I've always liked Ben Simmons.
Me too. Okay, well, some other guys I had that I really wanted to put on. 2 rookies out of Washington that I'm really big on. This is one of the main reasons I think the Wizards' future is so bright. They got Bub Carrington, who's the youngest player in the NBA with the 14th pick, young point guard. He's showed tons of promise during the summer league and preseason. He can run that team. He's a leader. He's a good shooter. He can play make. So I think Bub Carrington can be a bright spot for them.
Okay.
Also Keyshawn George, who they picked with number 24 overall pick.
I like Keyshawn.
So those 2 guys in Washington, I think they're going to make some noise out there.
There we go.
Maybe not this year, but in the future. Okay, so let's run through real quick. I'll say my top 5 favorite teams for next year. I got the Sacramento Kings at 1, Warriors at 2. I have the Orlando Magic at 3. The New York Knicks are my 4, and the Charlotte Hornets are my 5.
There we go. I have the 76ers at 5. I have the Magic at 4. I have the Knicks at 3. I have the Grizzlies at 2. And I have the Kings at 1.
All right. And top 5 breakout players for next year. I have Dyson Daniels at 5, Keontae George at 4, Julian Strother at 3, Cam Whitmore at 2, and Trey Mann number 1.
There we go. And I have Deuce McBride at 5. I have Emmanuel Quickley at 4. I have Jalen Williams at 3. I have Brandon Miller at 2, and I have Isaac Jones at 1.
All right.
Thank you, Ron.
Okay, so now we should jump into some baseball. We got 20 minutes left on this show, and we have a lot to talk about. So much has happened since our last show. We'll start with last Wednesday, actually, a week ago from today. We saw Game 3 of the Guardians and the Tigers series, which the Tigers ended up winning Game 3. That was a 3-0 win. That put them up 2-1 in the series. but that was the last game they were going to win in the series. So now the another game on last Wednesday was Game 4 of the Phillies at the Mets, which the Mets ended up closing out, winning that series 3-1.
Everybody thought the Phillies were going to come in and powerhouse that, but
Phillies were my favorite going into this playoff run.
Their bats disappeared.
They did
completely. Besides, I mean, I think Bryce Harper did good, but that's it, really. I think.
Yeah. And Nick Castellanos did pretty good too. But that's it. Besides that, they were
Trey
struggling.
Turner went cold. All of them went cold. Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah. The story of this game though is Francisco Lindor. A go-ahead game-winning grand slam in the 6th inning for Lindor. He's just been so clutch, and that was the only 4 runs the Mets scored, and that's all they needed.
A lot of grand slams for the Mets this postseason.
It's a magical run. This is the first time the Mets have ever closed out a series at Citi Field. So
congratulations to them.
Citi Field was jumping for sure. The Mets are just super fun to watch.
Yeah, no, I'm coming down to the championship series. I like them a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. So another game we saw a week ago today was the Yankees at the Royals, which the Yankees ended up winning 3-2, and then they were up in the series 2-1. Stanton went yard in that one. He's really been hot this whole playoff run. He's a scary hitter up there. And also Game 4 of the Padres and the Dodgers. We saw the Dodgers run away with that one 8-0. That tied the series up at 2-2. So that was a big Wednesday. We saw all four series play.
Yep.
So then we'll go to Thursday. Last week we saw Game 4 of the Guardians and the Tigers, which the Guardians ended up winning 5-4. David Fry came in a pinch hitter and hit a 2-strike, 2-out, 2-run homer to give the Guardians the lead, and that was really all they needed. The Guardians used their great bullpen again, and it really shut down the Tigers.
Yeah. No, I mean, having a pinch hit come in and it's just a home run. It's like, hey, I need you to go in and hit a home run for us. Okay, yes, coach.
So that the Guardians have really been clutching up, and just the bullpen has been lights out all playoffs. Stephen Vogt, our guy, just making all the right moves. I believe. Yeah. Okay, another game we saw on that last Thursday was the Yankees at the Royals. This was the final game of the series.
Yeah.
Yankees ended up winning 3-1 in the series and in the game.
Unfortunate.
Unfortunate. Gleyber Torres has been a great leadoff hitter all playoffs. He always starts a rally in the first inning. It seems like every first pitch of the game, he's ready to hit, and he gets on base every single time I've watched.
Just comes up ready to swing.
Yeah.
He knows that the pitcher's going to challenge him, so he's got to swing the bat.
First pitch, they're usually going to just lay a fastball in there,
or anything.
And he's ready to rake.
Yeah.
And these pitchers really have to adjust if they want to start getting them out.
I think more people should swing on those first pitch strikes and 3-0 counts.
Yeah.
Swing.
Yeah.
The ball's going to be in strike zone.
Yeah. What else are you looking for?
What else are you looking for?
Yeah. Another story on this series, the Royals officially are knocked out. Bobby Witt Jr. only went 2 for 16 in the series.
That sucks.
Was, known as one of the top 3 players in all of baseball.
He was almost in the MVP race for a little bit.
Yeah.
But he was in the MVP race.
A young player out there in KC, definitely a lot of promise for them, but sad to see them lose to the powerhouse Yankees. So then we saw Friday, Game 5, which was a crazy game. The Padres at the Dodgers in LA. Crazy atmosphere.
Pretty insane. That was one of my favorite games of the. Such a low scoring game, but it was pretty tight.
Yeah, this game we saw Yu Darvish go against the Japanese star Yamamoto for LA, and it was a pitching duel for sure. The final score was 2-0. The only difference in the game was Kike Hernandez solo homer, and then Teoscar Hernandez a solo homer. And once they took Yamamoto out, the Dodgers bullpen really shut him down.
Kind of just shut him down. The Padres, it was kind of over from the get, really.
Yeah.
It kind of seemed like that. The Padres weren't even going to catch alive on the bats. They did leave a lot of people on base, though. I did notice that.
Yeah, the Padres could not clutch up in that game.
They could not clutch up.
Yeah, it was sad to see. We both were rooting for them hard going in. So, it was tough to see them lose to the Dodgers. And then Saturday, we saw Game 5 of the Tigers and the Guardians series, which was definitely a great series. Went to the final game. We saw the Guardians run away with this one 7-3.
Yep.
And that was the first time we've seen young star Tarek Skubal really struggle in the playoffs, for the Tigers. He looked good, going in, and he pitched really good going in. He had 28 and a half scoreless innings before the 5th inning.
That's
where
pretty insane.
He ended up giving up a couple runs to the Guardians, and that was all they needed. Lane Thomas, again, he's hit a home run earlier in the series.
Yep.
Another grand slam in this one to really make the difference for the Guardians. And like we said, Stephen Vogt making all the right moves in Cleveland.
I see him I see him being maybe manager of the year. Maybe not this year, but next year for sure.
Yeah, definitely could see our guy Stephen Vogt. And he looks, I know it's playoff baseball, but man, he looks stressed.
Oh,
Every time they show him, he is. I haven't seen him smile all playoffs.
I wouldn't be. You're not winning.
Stressful job.
He's 0-2 right now against the Yankees.
Yeah. But he is really quick to go to that bullpen.
Yeah.
He goes to that bullpen whenever they're in trouble.
Is that his? Maybe you think that's his catcher kind of thing coming back in? He's just like, we got to switch. Yeah, we got to switch it up.
Yeah, for sure. And now we're on the series that we have now, which is the Mets at the Dodgers. We saw this game. Game 1 on Sunday, it was the Dodgers killing the Mets 9-0 in LA. A night game in LA, beautiful night. It was Jack Flaherty for the Dodgers. He pitched an absolute gem. Finally, the Dodgers starting pitcher stepping up for them.
Yep, finally. He struggled early in the playoffs.
Yeah, and the Dodgers really came out ready. The bats were ready to swing it in the first. Max Muncy, who used to be on the A's years and years back, he had a 2 RBI single in the first to put him up 2-0. Then in the second, Ohtani came up clutch with a 2-run or a solo single, an RBI single, to make it 3-0. And
he got caught stealing for the first time.
He did get caught stealing. He
36 straight steals.
Yeah, 36 straight before he got caught. So
sounds like some Ricky Henderson stuff right there.
Sounds like some MLB The Show stuff.
Yeah, MLB The Show stuff.
It does.
My history just ended the other day, man.
Yeah. Oh no. It was 102 games. So other guys on the Dodgers that are, big names. Tommy Edman, who was from the Cardinals, he has been killing it as well. RBI single for him. And then Ohtani came up again with another RBI double. Freddie Freeman, who's, hobbled out there, still can rake, though.
It's funny seeing him running around the base. Like
he
there's
cannot run.
Hobbling around the base. There was a video of him kind of running from second to home on the base hit to the outfield, and he's smiling halfway down the third baseline.
I love Freddie Freeman for that. He just loves
he loves playing.
He loves baseball, and he always wants to be out there.
Always smiling.
Yeah,
dude. He's probably got the most recognizable smile in the MLB.
Yeah, and he's been through a lot, off the field. So to see him still shine in this playoffs, although he's hurt, he's still been making a huge impact for the Dodgers. Yeah. And after this game, the final score is 9-0. This tied the major league record for consecutive scoreless innings from pitchers for the Los Angeles Dodgers with 33 straight scoreless innings that the Dodgers put up with their pitching staff. Going back to Game 4 of the Padres series, they didn't allow a run. And in Game 4...
I didn't recognize that.
In Game 4 of the Padres series, they went to the bullpen. It was a bullpen game for them.
That is true.
So they shut him out. And then Game 5, they had Yamamoto, and he shut him out as well. Yep. And then Game 1, Jack Flaherty pitched a gem, shut them out as well. So that was 33 straight scoreless innings for the Dodgers pitching staff.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah.
A lot of people were also questioning if Yamamoto was going to be ready to come back because he just came back.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's killing it now.
Yeah. But a lot of questions from Dodgers fans. Someone I work with at my other job, he's a big Dodger fan. And before this series started, he said the Dodgers are going to have to win this with the bats. And because he doesn't trust the pitching. All those guys on the pitching staff have been up and down all year.
Yep.
And,
it's kind of what they did in the beginning of the...
It was.
Their bats were hot.
Yeah.
And then
now it's kind of flipping.
Flipped back and forth.
The pitching's really stepped up, and the bullpen's really impressed me out in LA.
The fact that Blake Trinan's still out there throwing it, that's insane.
One of the best closers.
One of the best closers.
Yeah. And, we'll jump into Monday. We saw Game 1 of the Guardians and the Yankees series. The Yankees took this one 5-2, putting them up 1-0 in the series.
Come on, Guardians.
I know. We saw Carlos Rondon pitch for the Yankees in this one, former Giant, and he left for New York, and he struggled at first in his time with the Yankees.
But he's catching hot.
Getting hot at the right time for Carlos Rondon. And then we also saw Alex Cobb for the Guardians, who's also a former Giant just a year back.
Yeah.
And now he's pitching in Game 1 of the playoffs for the Guardians. He struggled out there.
The Giants are the new farm system of the MLB instead of the A's.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, it was cool to see in this one, CC Sabathia threw out the first pitch for the Yankees in the Yankee Stadium. They had a lot of celebs at this game as well.
Never a big Yankees fan, but CC Sabathia was always a guy that I liked.
Yeah, CC is definitely one of my favorite pitchers of all time. But yeah, this Game 1 was a fun one. Gleyber Torres, like I mentioned earlier, just leading off with a single, of course, on one of the first pitches. Yep. He does not wait around.
No, that's first pitch swinging is my favorite.
Yeah, and then we saw Juan Soto. After that, he came in with a single right off the bat. He's been swinging the bat very well lately. And then we saw Aaron Judge come up. He has been struggling.
He's been struggling
hugely.
I think he just. I mean, I won't get to it yet, but I mean, first home run recently.
Yeah, he did have his first home run in Game 2.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, but he struck out with some people on base in the first inning, and then Stanton pops out in that ended the jam. So Alex Cobb got out of the jam in the first inning, but it didn't pay off. Soto came back in the third and hit a solo homer, and then a bunch of wild pitches in that third inning for the Guardians.
It was pretty ugly.
Yeah, Judge scored on a wild pitch. Stanton scored on a wild pitch. That made it 3-0. Then Judge hit a sac fly in the fourth. That made it 4-0 Yanks. And that was really all they needed. The shortstop for the Guardians, Brian Rocchio, hit a solo homer out of the 9 spot for them. That was their only bright spot of this. Also, Stephen Kwan, who has an 11-game hitting streak.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Stephen Kwan.
Yeah,
he's one of my favorites right now.
He's a baller. I mentioned before the playoffs started, he's one of the best leadoff hitters in all baseball.
Yeah.
So, love to see him in that leadoff spot, 11-game hitting streak. But Stanton hit a solo homer in the 7th. Like I said, he's been heating up in the playoffs.
Yeah, that 3 back-to-back-to-back is insane to have. Stanton, Judge, and
and I had to look it up to make sure. But CC Sabathia was actually born in Vallejo, California.
Oh,
so yeah, shout out to our boy CC.
I like him even more now.
Yeah. I remember he was definitely near us, but I had to look it up to make sure. But yeah, Vallejo, California.
That's pretty awesome.
Sabathia, yeah.
Shout out Bay Area.
Yeah, shout out. And so also going back to this Game 1, the Yankees went with their closer in the 8th inning, who's been lights out, Luke Weaver. He pitched the 8th and the 9th, and he closed it out for them in Game 1. So every time he comes in, the Yankees announcers are always like, where would we be without Luke Weaver? So, he's been killing it for them. One of the best closers for the Yankees have had in a long time.
Yeah.
That seems like they always have a struggling bullpen, but now
Definitely.
It's kind of the opposite.
It's heating up at the right time.
Yeah.
Because, it did seem like they were struggling during the regular season for a bit. But, Garrett Cole, he's always stayed hot, so... He's one of my favorites, honestly. I like Garrett Cole.
Garrett Cole?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's tough to
Post-game interview the other day, it was just like, what's going through your mind right now?
Yeah.
It's just like, fired up, had a couple of IPAs, sprayed some champagne, fired up.
After they won the series?
After they won the series.
Yeah. Hoping they lose, though.
Yeah.
So, Game 2, which we saw on Monday as well. 2 days ago, we saw the Mets and the Dodgers in Game 2. And the Mets won this one 7-3. Let's go Mets.
Yeah, let's go Mets.
This tied the series up 1-1.
All about the Mets, baby. Let's go Mets.
Yep. And this was a day game in Dodger Stadium, which is just another beautiful sight. Dodger Stadium's one of my favorite parks in all baseball. Been there one time. It was a great time.
Yep.
So we saw our guy, Sean Manaea, on the mound.
Makes me so happy that he's still killing it out there.
He is a different pitcher than what we used to see.
He's changed it up.
Yeah, he throws actually gas now. And that sidearm funky release, it's tough to see.
People don't. People try to emulate it in training and stuff, but they can't get it.
Yeah, in this game we really saw Manaea dominate Shohei Ohtani, which I love to see.
Yep.
Shohei is interesting stat. He is 0 for 19 with the bases empty in the playoffs. He's 0 for 19. He hasn't gotten a hit with no runners on, and he's the leadoff hitter.
He doesn't feel the clutch gene.
Yeah. Whenever there's runners on, he's getting a hit.
He has the clutch gene, just to drive in runs. But I feel like when he's maybe up and nobody's on base, he's swinging for the fences. Maybe
that's a good point.
Maybe he's just swinging as hard as he can.
They have him in the leadoff spot though. I think they got
because he's stealing bases all the time. Yeah, that's why.
But if he's not getting on base,
then why are you doing it?
They might have to put Mookie Betts.
Put him at the 3 spot.
Yeah, that's how baseball used to be
played. Mookie at 1.
You put your best hitter in the 3 spot.
Yeah.
But now it's like you want him to get the most at bats he possibly can. That's kind of their thought process.
After the first inning, it doesn't matter.
True.
You got to rely on the defense your best to keep it going.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So this game was a bullpen game for the Dodgers, though. We saw that in Game 4 against the Padres where they shut him down, no runs allowed. But the scoreless inning streak for the Dodgers came to a close very quickly in this game. First batter of the game, Francisco Lindor, home run to lead it off. Love to see it.
What actually made me super mad recently is the Gold Glove finalist just came out for MLB.
Yeah.
And Francisco Lindor is not on the top 3 for Gold Glove.
There's a lot of good shortstops.
There's a lot, but he deserves to be a Gold Glove for.
He was second in MVP.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How are you being in the MVP race and not a Gold Glove for? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, so the Mets took an early 1-0 lead, and then Tyrone Taylor, who's been struggling all playoffs, the center fielder for the Mets, came up clutch with an RBI double in the second, putting them up 2-0. And then they walked Lindor in the second. They intentionally walked Francisco Lindor to get to Mark Vientos, who has been one of the Mets' best players in this whole playoff run.
I don't know what. I mean, obviously, maybe trying to get a double play, but that's it.
And it came back to bite the Dodgers. Francisco Lindor got intentionally walked to first, and then our guy Mark Vientos, the third baseman, came up and hit a grand slam we've seen in this playoffs. I don't remember a playoffs where there's been this many grand slams.
I mean, part of it might be the MLB juicing the balls a little bit, but
some excitement for sure.
I'm not mad about it.
Yeah. So that didn't pay off for the Dodgers. He hit a grand slam, putting them up 6-0, and then nothing really after that happened for the Dodgers. They had a Max Muncy solo homer in the fifth, and then a Tommy Edman 2 RBI single in the sixth. But that was it. Our guy Starling Marte, he swung the bat very well. Yeah, me too. He had 3 hits yesterday, or 2 days ago for the Mets, and he had an RBI single in the ninth, putting them up 7-3, and that was all they needed to close it out. One more game that we saw, which was yesterday, was Game 2 of the Guardians and the Yankees series. We saw the Aces face off, Tanner Bybee versus Garrett Cole, your guy. And, of course, again, Gleyber Torres leading off the bottom of the first inning with a leadoff double. Soto gets a single, and then something really crazy happened. Judge hits a fly ball or a pop-up on the infield, and the Guardians shortstop, Brian Rocchio, who went yard last game, he was under it, and the ball just he started out on his shortstop side of second, and then it ended up all the way on the second baseman side. The second baseman didn't call him off. It hit his glove, rolled away, ended up scoring a run. That was
stupid runs, man.
Yeah, horrible start for the Guardians in this one with their ace on the mound, trying to get out of a jam, and it cost them a run, making it 1-0 in the first. And then the right fielder for the Guardians, Will Brennan, came up big with a sliding catch to get him out of the jam, though, in foul territory, so that was big for them. But yeah, Brian Rocchio at short, you just can't have that happen, especially in the playoffs.
No.
Dropping an infield pop-up.
Simple plays, like easy plays. That's a gimme right there.
Yeah, we've all been there, though. I feel like when he dropped that ball, I was like, oh, I feel like I've done that exact same thing.
Yep.
It started out on the shortstop side, and then
everybody does
that wind and it just kept moving, and then the second baseman didn't call him off, and then it was just too late. Those infield pop-ups can be tricky sometimes. But yeah, Alex Verdugo for the Yankees clutched up, 2-run double. And then the Guardians went to...
Don't want a quick rally.
Yeah, they went to their reliever in the second inning.
That's too soon.
Stephen Vogt. With their ace on the mound, they go to their reliever in the second inning, who was Cade Smith, he's a damn good reliever. He's one of the best in all baseball. So he got out of the jam. No runs were allowed from his point of view. But yeah, they put him in the second, so they didn't let their ace roll at all. But that was really all we saw. The Yankees ended up winning at 6-3 after Judge went yard. Rizzo.
His first home run in the playoffs, I think.
Yeah, first home run in the playoffs for Judge, making it 6-2. And then Jose Ramirez came in the ninth and hit a solo homer.
Too little, too late.
Yeah, too little, too late. So yeah, that's where we're at with the baseball. I'm excited to see
a Subway Series for the World Series.
That could be fun.
That would be a lot of fun.
That could be fun.
Also, got to say, MLB playoff watching viewership is up like 22% from last year.
Hey.
Like it's coming alive again.
Yeah,
it's coming alive again.
We're seeing the Mets and the Dodgers in New York today, so that'll be a fun one.
Yeah.
But this has been Beam City Sports, Week 16, 96.5 FM. Please go subscribe if you're on YouTube.
Like, share, comment, everything.
Yep. Tyler Texeira and Luke Mitchell, and we are signing off.
Cheers.
Cheers.